Darkpress presents Speak of the Devil, a laid-back magical chat with Adam and Darian Darkly.
Greetings, Darklings. I'm Adam.
And I'm Darian.
Tonight we're continuing last episode's discussion of psychic ability. There are numerous expressions of psychic power, but we're going to focus on the four primary ones. A person who is psychic may manifest their power in any of these ways, or more frequently in a combination of them.
The first one is clairvoyance, clear seeing. I once sat across from a drug dealer at a party who was notorious for hurting people who offended him. My friend, a fellow witch, was doing a tarot reading for him. His bodyguard, a mountain of a man, sat beside him. My intuition was especially high that night, and so was I. But my usual sense of self-preservation was out the window. As I looked at the bodyguard with my physical eyes, I could see him in my mind's eye as well. But there was a middle-aged woman standing behind him with a hand on his left shoulder. "There is a woman standing behind you with her hand on your shoulder. Who is she?" I asked. "What are you talking about?" "She says she's your mother." He visibly shuddered. I described the woman I saw to him, and he acknowledged that that was exactly what she looked like. "She passed away a couple of years ago?" I asked. He shook his head yes. His eyes were wide with curiosity now. "She was a Christian, wasn't she?" We laughed a little bit about her communicating through a witch now. "Did she know about your career choice?" "No, she didn't," he said. "Well, she does now, and she wants me to tell you that she is not disappointed in you like you think. In fact, she loves you and will always be proud of you." Tears were running down his face, and now his boss and my friend were fully engaged in the exchange too. "She says she knows she was too strict on you, and she apologizes for that. You were always a good boy, but she has a word of advice if you'll hear it." He nodded silently. "She says you'll be with her sooner than you think if you don't change your circle of friends. A deal goes sideways soon and you're killed." I was a little afraid to see his boss's reaction, but he actually leaned over and said to him, "He's right, man. These guys are for real. You should get out of the gang." I don't know if he heeded either his mother's or his boss's advice. But this was an example of clairvoyance, clear seeing. In the story I just shared, the woman's spirit impressed her thoughts upon me. She didn't speak to me audibly. If she had, it would have also been an example of our second expression of psychic power, clairaudience.
Clairaudience is also known as clear hearing. I've had this happen, and I've had this experience throughout my life. An example of that being hearing my grandmother's voice calling my name, hearing the voices of other dead, of other ancestors, hearing the voices of certain allies calling to me even in dreams. And I've experienced this for a number of years.
The third expression of psychic power is clairsentience, clear feeling. Psychometry is a good example of this, using personal items from someone to make a connection. It can be someone who's very far away, or it can be someone who's passed on. But a psychic who expresses themselves through clairsentience can hold that object in their hand and make a connection with the individual that it once belonged to. Empathy is also a good example of clairsentience. Many empaths connect with people on an emotional level. When I first opened myself fully to my psychic abilities, I was only able to shut my sensitivity completely down or open it full blast. Going into a store was a roller coaster of feelings. If a stranger brushed against me, I would see flashes of their life, hear their thoughts, and know details I didn't want to know, like when and how they were going to die. My anxiety was through the roof in public until I learned to control my gift and to separate what was my stuff from what belonged to other people. I still get flashes of insights from just shaking someone's hand. This can be an example of clairsentience.
The fourth expression of psychic power is claircognizance, or clear knowing. I mentioned in our last show how, even as a child, I've always known things before I knew why, getting premonitions of places I may visit, or places that I would move to years prior to moving. Nowadays, as I've worked to come more so into the awareness of my gifts, I find it even easier to remote view, to envision a place or person and let my vision open to be able to see the location, aware what that person's doing, which is very helpful as someone who works for clients worldwide. And I find even more so that it's easier and easier to jump into people's minds and read their thoughts, which is also very useful depending on the situation.
Yes. Tonight's burning question. What is the best inside joke you've been a part of? If you don't mind, I'll start. One night I had about 12 of my friends over to watch a movie. Midway through the movie, one of my friends fell asleep on the floor in front of the television. I quietly got everybody to go along with me. Then I woke her by saying, wake up, you just farted really loud. For a split second, she was mortified because everyone was nodding in agreement. But when she realized it was me saying that, she was just like, nah. Do you have one?
There are a lot of funny things throughout my life that I remember that could be considered kind of like an inside joke. More specifically, when I used to work overnight at Walmart, and we were always playing jokes on people on one level or another, and sometimes people would come in and we'd be short staffed, and there would just be like one person, and we would tell them that they would have to like stock like 12 aisles or something like that, but eventually we like, we'd end up having to help them, so we'd laugh about it and come out about it. But things like that were always really fun working overnight.
That's awesome.
That's all the time we have for this episode, but be sure to check out new episodes every Saturday night. If you enjoy the show and want to show your support, shop at Devil's Conjure, buy us a coffee, like and subscribe to the Darkpress channel, share us with your friends. Next week's episode will be called 10 Divination Tools. We'll go down the list of some very helpful tools for channeling your psychic gifts.
Don't miss it.